Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome to the stage Will Connolly, aka Egg Boy! I don't know why I'm curtsying for you. Will, grab a seat. Now, so you all know, this is all being filmed and it's going to end up not just on the internet, but on TV as well.
Great.
So, yeah. We checked. He has no poultry goods on him. Firstly, Will, this is your first Splendour, yes?
Yeah, it is. It's bloody awesome. It's crazy. I was at Tame Pile last night and just looking back, seeing everyone, like 50,000 people up a hill. Oh, it's surreal. I'm a bit of a short ass, so I had to get on some shoulders to...
No, you're not that short. Hold on, stand up. 1 second. Who's taller, me or Will? Because I am legally a midget, so... I feel good about my height standing next to Will. Thank you for my self-esteem. All right. First thing I was curious about is, how do you feel about the nickname Egg Boy? Because it's stuck and you didn't choose it.
Well, before all of this happened, I was called Egg Boy at school. Anyway.
Why?
And funny story, 3 months before all this happened, we were choosing our Year 12 jumpers, so I had to put the name on the back. I nearly did Egg Boy. I chose someone else instead. But look, the boy part, I'm not actually the biggest fan, but hey, it's the meaning behind it's bloody awesome. Like, yeah.
So what was the reason you had the nickname before the incident?
So I used to bring like 2 boiled eggs to school every day for protein. Yeah, all the girls are like, oh, get away, like that stinks. And I'm just like, smell the eggs and watch the games. That's pretty much it, yeah. But now I have permission to eat eggs around them whenever I want, so it's
Mate, you got to support the rig somehow, right?
yeah, exactly.
So what a lot of people, what I want to do is I want to talk about a little bit about the incident, a little bit about the aftermath, and a little about like where you go forward, because it is a defining sort of turning moment in your life,
Yeah,
but
100%.
there's more to you than that one moment,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So what a lot of people I don't think really realise is that before the incident, you went in and you listened to Fraser Anning for like an hour beforehand.
Yeah, I did. So I guess I'll run you through the last 24 hours. So I
We
was
do like a TikTok with like the 24 counting clock towards it.
if I can keep track. So I was at the climate change rally the day before, so I was in an already empowered and pretty passionate mood to want to make change. And on the way back, I watched the video on Facebook of the shooting, and I was like, well, it's just like unhuman, non-emotional guys shooting everyone. I was like, what? Like, speech. And I was watching with my family. And then like 3 hours later, I saw the statement that Fraser Anning released. I was reading it, and I was like, who the hell wrote this? And it said Senator, and I was like what? And then I shared that on Facebook, and I said, would like to be face to face with this Muppet. It was a figure of speech, and someone held me to that, and he posted the event he was at, and that was the next day. So I was in the car with my mate, and I was like, well, let's go egg him. And no one really wanted to come. I had a few mates. I had a couple mates that wanted to come and listen to him with me, but they were running 15 minutes late, and I didn't want to miss them. So I went by myself and rode my bike down and got eggs from Woolies. It's not going to sell a book, that story on its own. It's just a pretty basic story.
Coles is really relieved right now that you bought them from Woolies. So you're sitting in there, you're listening to him, and what are you hearing?
Yeah, so... Oh, it's weird. He was saying things like, I can't remember all of it, but the 2 things. He was saying there were already 7 Muslims in Parliament, it's getting out of hand, and Sudanese people came to this country because their country was in crisis, and now they have to go back to where they came from. And people are clapping him, and I'm just like, got eggs in my pocket. and I'm just like, do a little clap so it's not suspicious that I have eggs in my pocket.
Like a really non-committal like, yeah, I'm a racist too.
Yeah, I was fuming though inside, like.
So, the moment itself, everybody's seen the footage a million times, but what I'm fascinated about is it all happens really fast. And I imagine you don't remember a lot of the immediate moment, but when you look back at that footage now, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, well, it's really weird because I don't have an actual memory of a first person. I guess because I've seen the footage so many times, I have this like third person view of it in my head. It's like a false memory. Yeah.
It's like you're hovering above it.
Yeah. How do I feel about it? It's just surreal watching it. Yeah.
You've obviously been asked this a lot in the aftermath, but it sparked a conversation about the fact that even if you didn't like Fraser Anning, is that necessarily the right way of handling Fraser Anning? How do you feel about it now with a bit of time passing?
Oh, look, the good that comes out of it, so all the money that was raised, I had one lady say she was a victim and she knew someone that was killed. And she said watching your footage was the first time I smiled since the incident. So that all positive out of it definitely outweighs the I shouldn't throw eggs at people. But I still shouldn't throw eggs at people. Yeah.
If Fraser Anning said what he said again and you had access, would you do it again?
So if the best way to put it is if I saw him on the street tomorrow, probably just give him a cheeky smile. But if I had a time machine and it took me back to that same day, I would 100% do it again.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think about the argument that violence, albeit a very benign form of violence, is a dangerous thing to have in our sort of political discourse?
Yeah, well, I've played high-level baseball, like really high-level baseball. I went to America for it. So what I didn't come from a violent place. If I wanted to hit him, I could have, hit him in the head with a baseball, 100 miles an hour. What I did was definitely not from a violent place.
We're glad you didn't do that.
Yeah, me too.
And your mum's back here. I'm pretty sure
definitely
she's
wouldn't have
glad
done
you
that.
didn't do that too.
Yeah.
That moment after it happens, you were being pinned to the ground by a bunch of Fraser Anning supporters. I've looked at your face in that footage a lot, and you seem like reasonably calm, quite uncomfortable, but reasonably calm. What was actually going through your head?
Yeah, so I remember just knowing that the police were nearby, just to lay there like a log, because if I was antagonistic, it probably wouldn't have gone down much better for me at all. Yeah.
Right. So this interest in, I guess, social justice, sort of progressive issues, where does that start?
Yeah, so I've always stood up for the underdog. I've always liked the underdog. My grandpa was always like, go for the underdog in footy, and that's probably ingrained in my psyche. But I remember first time that was either uncovered, I think, was back in primary school, and there was this crazy kid who used to chase me and a couple that's around with a bat and try and hit us. And so we learned
good to have friends.
Yeah, great friend. We stood up to him, and then we started standing up for the kids who he was going after us. And he went after my brother at one stage, and I stood up for my brother. So I guess that's the first time it's uncovered that, yeah.
But at the same time, you've sort of been embracing... I mean, you were at a climate change rally the day beforehand, so why... Not every young person on the planet takes a massive issue in those issues, so where does that sort of... When did you start becoming active, I guess, in those sorts of areas?
Oh, well, it would have been the climate change rally.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I just felt so incredibly hyped up to want to do something, yeah.
So here you are, you're 17 years old, you've commanded this audience of people to be here, except for that one guy for all day. You now have a level of attention on you, and with that can kind of come power.
Yeah.
What do you want to do with that?
Well, I have a huge sense of responsibility. After it happened, the massive negative, which is actually a positive, was the extra pressure on what to do next. I needed to figure it out. And I went to the space convention in Byron Bay. I was lucky enough to get along, and it was people who want disruptive people who want to make a change, and they're entrepreneurs and people who are high up in you had a shaman at one end and a tech person at the other. And I met Colette Worden, and she's my manager and agent, and hopefully future best friend, probably. And she's gonna help guide me into what I'm really passionate about, and hopefully off this platform I can, I guess, make a living, because I feel like I have a massive sense of responsibility with it. It's a gift.
In addition to the sense of responsibility, in the immediate aftermath, there was an enormous discussion that happened, and with that, there was a lot of talk, I guess. There's a lot of conversation and trolling. For somebody that's never been at the centre of that, describe it. What does it feel like to be at the centre of that kind of conversation?
Yeah, so to cope... So watching it all in the media, even though it's overwhelmingly positive, you still feel like you have no control. and it's a bad and good feeling. To cope, I had to stay in routine. I had to, like, it's basic, but it works. You have to eat well. You have to sleep well. Still socialise with your friends.
Did you keep eating the boiled eggs though?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I'd out-eaten them. And meditating's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still eat eggs?
I do. I have egg in my milkshake every morning.
I mean, that's gross. You know that, right?
Yeah, but it's gains.
Off the back of the incident, there was not just Australian attention, but worldwide attention, and there was a bunch of offers that came through.
Yeah.
You were offered a holiday in Turkey. There was a bunch of beer from Canada. It's now sometimes passed. Has anybody come through?
Yeah, they have. Hilltop Hoods.
Yep.
I went to Groove in the Moo. Saw them play. They were amazing on stage. They actually shouted me out, and that was crazy. I was on someone's shoulders at the time. But yeah, I went backstage and met up with them, and they're legends. They're such good blokes, so they definitely came through.
What do you think you sat there in a room listening to a guy like Fraser Anning for an hour, and then eventually you were pinned down by his supporters. What do you think the success of Fraser Anning, what do you think that says about Australia? I know it's like a big question, but like you sat there and you listened to him for a long time. Like, why do you think he cuts through? Why do you think people do listen to him?
Why do I think? That's a really good question, and I obviously couldn't tell the answer, couldn't give you the real answer. I would say, I don't know. I can't imagine myself thinking like that, but yeah, I don't know.
That's okay.
The answer.
Are you hopeful? Like, are you
No,
hopeful
they're lost or scared.
Sorry, say again?
They're lost or scared.
Say that one more
They're
time.
lost or scared.
They're
I
lost
would
or
say.
scared.
For some, yeah.
Why do you think that? Why do you think they're lost or scared?
The stigma around Muslims might give them an opening or an avenue to place that lost or scaredness onto.
Yeah, no. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Between your experiences with that and like going to things like the climate change rally, which was like hugely attended, a lot of young people out in force, do you have hope for Australia? Like that you know, more positive forces will overwhelm? I'm making it sound like the fucking Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But do you have hope for like the heart and soul of Australia?
I got to be honest with you, I never did. I honestly never did. And I went to the space convention and there was just a bunch of awesome people. I'd never been more excited for the future, honestly. It was a really good feeling. So yeah, I do have hope.
So fast forward for me, like a year, 2 years. What is it you want to be doing? Like, how do you want to use this?
I want to keep learning. Best thing about all this is I get like the best version of everyone. So I can keep learning. I want to travel a lot and learn through experience, yeah.
And now the most important question, who are you most excited at seeing at Splendour in the Grass?
Childish Gambino tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Egg Boy. No, it's not. It's Will Connolly. Give him a round of applause.